is you really have to define win, which is what I talk about in one of my Twitter threads. I think, and I think that'll be Vivek. Let me go. I got to turn my plant light on. That's a good question. Okay, cool. You guys can you can look. I'm also live on YouTube too, where you can kind of see more of my studio. Vivek is cool. I like Vivek. Vivek is very strategic about his purpose and what he wants to do. And a lot of people don't understand that. So Vivek is a great talker, but Vivek was never running to be president. Vivek was running so that he could essentially gain leverage in the presidential election process. What a lot of people don't understand is when you're running for president isn't just about actually running for president. Running for president is about building your network, building your clout, and also creating leverage. So Vivek right now has a lot of leverage, and that's a good thing if you like Vivek. The big question for Vivek is if he's pulling votes from Trump's camp or from like Nikki Haley and DeSantis. So that's why Trump was recently attacking Vivek. He was recently attacking Vivek because Trump, I think, thinks that Vivek is pulling from his base. And if that's true, that's a bad thing, and that'll decrease Trump's margin, which Trump needs a big margin in order to look powerful. Because at the end of the day, these are all shows and displays of power, nothing else. And the displays of power and marketing is what matters. And so that's why Trump has to win in a landslide. Now, if he's over 10%, that's fine. That's fine. And that'll be perfectly okay. But like, for example, if Trump's at like 30 and Vivek's at 10 and DeSantis is at 25 and Nikki Haley's at 25, that looks really bad. And it's especially really bad if those 10% of Vivek votes could have gone to Trump, which would have increased his margin. So, for Vivek to shock, he just has to come in third place. He has to place it all. So, Vivek's only going to shock if he places, essentially, which he could. What we've seen is all that moment. If you guys follow my YouTube, what I talk a lot about is political momentum. Political momentum is all that matters. And so what we've seen is DeSantis's momentum declining. Nikki Haley's is kind of staggered upward, but Vivek's has mostly been the one that's been facing that upward trajectory. And in the primary process, momentum is what kind of ensures whether you win or you lose. So, for example, Nikki Haley's strategy is to come in third in Iowa, second in New Hampshire, first in South Carolina, and then carry Super Tuesday. And that's called creating momentum, right? It was actually Marco Rubio's strategy back in 2015. But if you remember, Chris Christie annihilated Marco Rubio on one of the debate stages, and that's what killed Marco Rubio's momentum in the political process. So a lot of people, that's why you can lose in Iowa, but still benefit if you build the momentum. That's why Nikki Haley has been focusing so much on New Hampshire. And what's funny is I went through a phase where I wanted Marco Rubio to win only because he was from Florida, and I wanted a president from Florida. But Trump's now in Florida, and so we've had our Floridian president. And if Trump wins again, I guess it would be the first president to reside from Florida. No, it's proven that anytime Trump's in court, his momentum spikes because he controls the news and media narrative, which is also why Trump has strategically never attended a debate. Trump's never attended a debate because he would draw more eye time. And why would you give your opponents more eye time? He wants all that eye time for himself. So anytime there's a court case, his enthusiasm and his momentum actually picks up, which has been like a huge deal. And so that's why, he makes it a show. That's why he posted his mugshot, right? He posted his mugshot because he wanted to be a badass, but he controlled the media cycle. There were memes everywhere. No other politician has that ability. And so it's pretty unique for Trump. The most interesting thing is the ground game. So even though we see like I know that mugshot does go hard. That mugshot goes hard AF. So uh even here's what I'm worried about for Trump's camp is they haven't had any ground game, and Iowa's a small state, and ground game does matter in a small state. So, and by ground game, I mean literally just in person meetings, talking to people, going to small county fairs. People are very easily swayed and persuaded. So it is possible that Trump's margin is small just because he hasn't had the time. But most Trump supporters have already locked in that they're voting for Trump and aren't easily swayed. So in Iowa, people who are kind of wishy-washy back and forth, that's what everyone's going for. Which Vivek is a good measure because say Trump gets like 30%, if Vivek gets like 10%, Vivek voters in a sense are even further right than Trump voters. And I guess you could almost say that for some DeSantis supporters as well. So I would argue that Vivek doing well is actually going to prove that Trump is going to do really well in the general election. Um, but that will just have to wait and see, right? This is just the first primary, but I'm excited for it to be over because after this first primary, a lot of things are going to be decided and it'll drop down to maybe a two-person race. But if Trump just kills everybody, then I think we'll finally have some bearings because what needs to happen is consolidation in order for the Republican Party to get organized. All this infighting, I can't stand. It's stupid when they should be fighting Democrats, right? So it's kind of pointless. Yeah, me and Graham, we were on a CBDC chat. She's awesome. I'm a big fan of hers. Uh, that investor and me both live in the St. Pete, Tampa Bay area. So it's kind of cool. They did him dirty with his haircut. I don't know if you saw that, but they did him dirty. They did him dirty. I'm still a little shocked. So the sad, I know. So let's see. Doors close in 22 minutes. By the way, just because doors close doesn't mean they're not stopping counting because the rule is normally as long as you're in line, your vote's counted. And so if the line is, 200 people long, doors close, but they stay there until the last person in line is there. Iowa's such a funny state. It really is. So I can tell you, so the Iowa caucus works a little wonky. I'll share with you guys some of the rules. Oh yeah, I know. So how does the Iowa caucus work? So in the Iowa caucus, you have to be registered with the Republican Party. But like for example, if you're a Democrat or independent, you could go ahead and register in Iowa as a Republican just so you could participate. Which New Hampshire's crazy because New Hampshire, you can be any party and vote. It's like it's an open primary state. So you have closed primary states and open primary states. Closed primary states, when it's closed, it means only the party that you're registered with. And they had no idea. Yes, I do remember that. I still don't think they have any idea what I'm talking about. So this is a really important concept, guys. Actually, the you have closed primary states and open primary states. A closed primary means in order to vote into the primary, you have to be registered with the party. That means if you're not a Republican, you can't vote in the Iowa Republican caucus, right? At all. However, you have open primary states, which means if you're independent, if you're a Democrat, you can actually vote in the primary, which is kind of crazy to think about. Should that be allowed? I'm not entirely sure. I don't like that system because obviously then it's not the will of those voters, of Republican voters. You can have Democrats and independents come and essentially just be like, oh, we don't like Trump, so we're going to vote for Nikki Haley. And that's what's going to happen in New Hampshire. So New Hampshire, let me just make sure I'm right. New Hampshire primary should be an open primary. Yeah, they do vote. Okay, yeah. See, New Hampshire's an open primary state, which means anyone can vote. So I can be a Democrat and choose to vote in the Republican New Hampshire primary. Isn't that crazy? Can you imagine? It's just insane to me. I mean, imagine like that's how you can like affect another party. What's up, Emmanuel Salomon? How you doing, boss? Let's see what Real Clear Politics is doing. Correct. They could sabotage easily. You know what's funny, by the way? I don't know if you guys know this, but Biden is not on the ballot for the New Hampshire primary. No one's talking about this, but he's not on the ballot. They missed some opportunity or something. So to vote for Biden in their first primary state, which is New Hampshire, they're going to have to write him in, and he does have a primary opponent. And so even though Biden's probably going to win the New Hampshire primary, if Biden comes in at like under 70% in the New Hampshire primary, once again, a win is not necessarily a win. So he's going to look so bad if like his competitor, who's kind of this weird guy, nobody, gets like 20 to 30%. Yes. What's up, Peter Herman? Well, it's because when RFK was originally running, they were scared. And originally the first primary is always is always in South Carolina, I think, or maybe I'm getting it. No. The first primary is always in Iowa or New Hampshire for Democrats. And because Biden was worried about RFK Jr., they switched the primary to South Carolina first to ensure that like Biden would have a lock. It was some convoluted story. Actually, let me research that for you guys. Yeah, so traditionally, this is what happened. Traditionally, New Hampshire was the first in the nation. So New Hampshire was the first primary state for the Democratic Party. They were scared that RFK Jr. was going to do well in New Hampshire, so they moved it to South Carolina. The party did. People don't understand how corrupt some of this stuff is. And I don't want to say corrupt because it's how our processes have always been. But they can move where the primary state is based on who they want it to be. So the DNC was like, oh yeah, no, if there's any chance at all that that Biden is gonna do poorly, we'll just move where the primary state is. What's up, Sammy? Yo, I got one viewer on YouTube now. What's going on, boss? So I'm live streaming on both YouTube and TikTok, and it's pretty funny because my YouTube is a desert, but you guys on TikTok are keeping me company, and you're all fun. So I appreciate that. I like how on TikTok you can see who's watching you. YouTube, not so much, which it is what it is. I wish it was easier to co-live on YouTube, but it's really not. What's up, AMCCLIN? Looks like I'm headed to the YouTube subscribe. What a plug. What a plug. What a G. What a G. Yeah, when are you gonna come over, bro? We got to do headshots in my very nice, clean apartment, which you can see my background on YouTube. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. I posted a fire tweet today. What's up, Jay Grams? I posted a fire tweet today, and it got like 3 likes, and they were all from people that I knew. I hate Twitter. I am slandering your condo a little bit. I hate Twitter so much because it's just depressing. Every time I drop some knowledge, I wish I could screen share on here because this guy, I'm looking at Twitter right now. This guy's saying, Republicans, why would you vote for anyone but Vivek Ramaswamy? This guy's an idiot. And he's got 65,000. Oh, of course, he's a Swan Bitcoin guy. No wonder he's an idiot. Swan private account. Yeah, why would you vote for anyone but Vivek? People who are like super pro Vivek are like the people who are scared to just say they're pro Trump and who were like too scared to say they were pro Trump in 2016 and 2020. And what's super funny is some of the most pro Vivek people voted for Biden in 2020. Makes absolutely no sense. Well, it does make sense when you understand that these people are some of the dumbest people in the world and have no political sense whatsoever. To go from voting for Biden to then saying I'm going to vote for Vivek, who Vivek is like right of Trump. These people are stupid grifters, and you really have to understand that. It's one of the most important things you have to watch in these political stuff. What's up, Romaro 1984? How you doing? Swan Bitcoin people are probably some of the dumbest people on social media, and it's really fascinating to watch. Because Bitcoiners love them. They're very influential, and they all have massive Twitter followings. But they really are. They're dumb as rocks. I find that fascinating. I don't know what that means about the Bitcoin community as a whole, but the debate panel live streams. I don't know how to do those though, but I should. Where you can bring people up to shit talk you and stuff. What's up, Sabermatics? All right, where are we at? Let's see. We're just 13 minutes away from doors closing, baby. Well, 12 minutes now. What's up, Sabermatics? I love how Chris Christie is still on the ballot somehow, and so is Asa Hutchinson. Isn't that hilarious? All right. So let's see. Asa never dropped out. Really, he didn't. Isn't that hilarious? Let's see what. It's just so pointless, isn't it? All right, bro. Have fun eating your salad. I'll miss you. Asa Hutchinson. Isn't that so funny? So then why is that guy running? He's running because he probably has some tax evasion stuff that he's got to run through his campaign. Political campaigns, I got to tell you guys, you got to remember, it's not always just about running for president. It is more often than not a money moving scheme. And that is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely true. I think instead of going live on YouTube, I'm actually going to go live on